Hey guys, great to see you. Joe here and welcome to another video, and thank you very much indeed for joining me. So I'm going to be following on from our riffs, rhythms and turnarounds in this lesson. So this is going to be part 2. In the first lesson we took a look at a big Bill Brunsey turnaround. Now in this lesson we're going to take a look at some rhythms, and we're also going to kind of concentrate on the key of E, because this is probably the most used key when it comes to blues. And just by learning a few basic positions, we can actually learn to play hundreds of blues songs. Now you're probably familiar with this kind of rhythm. Well, variations of that rhythm can, as I say, lead you into many different songs. There are so many variations, and so it makes sense to be proficient in this key of E. It really does. And so we shouldn't just write it off as being something really basic, which, you know, it's just the easiest thing in the world to do. That's true. We can play it in a very simplistic way just by letting things ring out and going between 2 and 4, like so. But like you've seen in some of my other lessons, you know, it can actually be quite a, you know, a kind of complex rhythm as well from the E. So you have all the kind of Robert Johnson-y things. You know, there's a lot we can kind of do other than it just being very basic. And it's not a problem if it is very basic, because often if we're playing rhythm guitar, our job is to just kind of be very solid about what we're doing. So you're probably familiar with this shape, but I'm going to run through it again anyhow. And you can see that this first finger here, the index finger, it looks like it's barring all 5 strings apart from the top one. Okay? But really, I'm only concentrating on the 4th and 5th strings, because I'm only playing the 6th, the 5th and the 4th. Okay, so now the most basic rhythm is just adding this ring finger to the 4th fret. I'm playing. Okay, and then we move that down. So we are now playing the 5th, 4th and 3rd strings. Then we would go back to the E. Then we would play a B or a B7 if we're in the key of E. Back to our A. And back to our E. Now that is a very basic rhythm, yeah? But nevertheless, we still need to be very solid and in time, you know, no matter how basic something is. If you hear a great player playing something very simple, you'll notice that it's very much in the groove. So it shouldn't be overlooked as just something very too simplistic for us. Now, taking that to the next level, we can add this 5, the 5th fret. Okay, so if we're doing the same thing, in the last example we were going between 2 and 4. Well, now what we can do is we can play 2, 4, 5. So we can do it like that, whereby we play the 5 with our pinky. Or we can actually play. Okay, so we can actually use our ring finger or our pinky to do that. And the same when we come to the A. Yeah, so it's kind of another little rhythm for you, just adding that one extra note. Okay, now you can hear that I'm playing it so it rings out. And sometimes that's what's required. We want something to fill up the sound, as it were. Now there are other instances whereby we may like a more dampened sound, so we go for our. And as I've mentioned many a time, all we're really doing is we're putting this palm of our hand here on the strings when we play on the right hand. So we get this kind of sound. There's nothing ringing out. You can hear it's dampening the sound, yeah? So if we then play our... Okay? So this is something that we can kind of do with our right hand to give a very authentic kind of sound, blues sound, yeah? Now, another thing that we can do is we can come up to this 6th string, 3rd fret and 4th fret, so we can play. Okay, so all we're really doing there is we're playing our same old D, only we're bringing this middle finger to the 3rd fret, then the ring finger, so that's the 3rd and 4th fret on the 6th string. Now it's important that our finishing note is this E, 4th string 2nd fret, when we're playing that rhythm. Like that, yeah. And the same thing applies when we play our A. And so on. So again, that is another rhythm. And there are so many of these rhythms played at varying tempos. They can all sound quite different when they are played at varying tempos. And so it's something that we need to be able to do, is to play at a slow tempo for that real kind of slow down dirty blues, and then, you know, also a very up tempo, more of a... So, you know, we need to have that real solid rhythm. So whatever we play, the timing is really, really crucial, because that's one of the things that kind of stands out as being wrong if it's slightly off. And that's one of the things which will kind of make your playing sound not quite as good as what it might. The timing's very, very, very important. So, you know, if that's something that you've identified as being problematic for yourself, then it's a good idea to maybe use a metronome or something like that, and that will get you into the habit of kind of playing with a constant kind of sound, and it will really, really help you. And I think it's really, really important to be able to play in time at different tempos, and to be able to dampen, and to be able to play it kind of open. And also, you know, it's not all just kind of strumming. You can actually, you know, do more of a single note thing, and all we're really doing there on our right hand is playing notes individually rather than a strum, essentially. So we're starting with the 6th, the 5th. So that 6th note, this note here, there's one of those for every note I'm playing on the A string, okay, if that makes sense. So we start with an open E, then we play this, then we play the E again, the E again, the E again. Yeah? Get the idea? Now, you know, just being able to play those examples of what I've shown you, as I say, it literally is hundreds of songs. You know, you can listen to Muddy Waters, you can listen to John Lee Hooker, you can listen to Eric Clapton, you can even listen to Elvis. I mean, that one there. We're going up, we're going down, we're going up, down, down, up, and anywhere you want to let it roll. Yeah, so that's like an Elvis-y number. And so, you know, there is such a lot that you can play if you can play that well. And so I know that like many of you are also looking to kind of put licks and accompany yourself. But the first step really is being not having to really even think about playing these rhythms. Because then putting licks in is kind of much easier. And I know that many of you strive to be able to do that. So I think it's very worthwhile you spending some time on this rhythm and the ones that I've looked at here. I hope I'm not repeating myself. I have touched on this a couple of times before. But as we're now kind of dedicated to this riffs, rhythms and turnarounds, it simply has to be included in that because it's such a big part of the rhythm side of things. So I do hope that you can kind of spend a little bit of time with that. And even if you incorporate it in your daily practice, you'll soon be very proficient at it because it's a nice, simple kind of thing to come to terms with. Now, you see, once you can do that comfortably, then all this kind of more advanced blues, if you like, you know, when you're playing, you see those kind of, those little things that you put in, although they're very simple, you know, kind of notes in some instances that we're putting in, they're kind of incidentals. And although it sounds very simple, it can actually be quite tricky to play, say, because it's so counterintuitive. And so, you know, we're all very good doing this, but when it comes to putting in those little things, and it might just be, when it comes to doing something a little bit more than, it gets a little bit tricky. So this is why, one of the reasons we need to be extremely comfortable with this. And then once you are further down this course, you know, you're going to be able to add in all these little, but you won't really be able to do that unless you can kind of do the rhythm on its own very comfortable, is what I'm saying. You know, it'll probably sound a little bit ropey, perhaps. So I do hope that you spend a little bit of time on that. I know it's a basic idea and a basic concept, but I'd like you to see if you can come up with any of your own rhythms, because, you know, that's what many of the great blues players did. They did kind of, even though it's a common thing, they just added that little something. And in a lot of instances, it wasn't a great deal that they added to that to make something really nice. So see what you can do with that and maybe incorporate it into your daily practice, because I do think it would help you. And I look forward to seeing you soon with another lesson. Thank you very much for watching.